Not a particularly positive week in America. Before we get to our guests, I want to go straight now to Ron Dermer, Israeli ambassador to the United States. He's in Pittsburgh right now. Ambassador, I really appreciate you being there for us tonight. I just want to offer right away my condolences. My condolences. I know that it's not just about those individual people and families who have been directly affected by what's happened. Every Jewish person, to some degree, will be feeling an element of pain and fear as a result of what's happened. I would just like to start by asking you for your general thoughts on what we've seen.
Well, it's the worst anti-Semitic attack in American history, and Israel's the one and only Jewish state, and today the people of Israel mourn with the people of Pittsburgh, not just the Jewish community, but the wider community. I attended an event tonight that brought faith leaders, Muslims, Christians, Jews, and they came together really to say no to this type of hatred that unfortunately claimed 11 lives.
So, Ambassador, you mentioned they're coming together, and that's wonderful to see. Unfortunately, even today, we didn't see that happening across the board, and we immediately had people out saying that President Trump is in some way responsible for what happened. What's your reaction to that claim, specifically about President Trump?
Well, first reaction is people should study history. Anti-Semitism did not begin in 2016. It's been going on for many centuries, about 25 centuries. And President Trump is not responsible for the anti-Semitism that has existed really in the United States in an increased fashion over the last couple of decades. You know, in 2014 and 2015, and I say that only because that was before President Trump came into office, over half of the hate crimes against religious groups were hate crimes against Jews. A lot of people don't know that. And I think you have had an increase in hate in recent years. I think that's a product mainly of the rise of social media, where you have a lot of these purveyors of hate that can now go and reach out to other purveyors of hate and spread their poison. I have to tell you something else, Steve. I've been following anti-Semitism and leaders' statements against anti-Semitism for 20, 25 years. I have never heard a statement, the likes of which I heard yesterday from President Trump, where he said those who are trying to destroy the Jewish people, we will destroy them. Not only did I hear that statement, Steve, I heard it applauded by all of Trump's supporters at that rally. Now, that should tell people that this is the action of the extremes. It could be neo-Nazis on the right. It could be militant Islamists on the left. It could be all sorts of people in between. Anti-Semitism is not a product of one side of the political spectrum. It has not been thus throughout history. You know, in Europe, there are waves of anti-Semitism that have been going on now for many, many years. There have been attacks on Jews in Paris, in Brussels, and in other places around the world. And I think to pin this all at the foot of President Trump is wrong. I very much appreciate, and the Prime Minister of Israel appreciated very much his strong condemnation of anti-Semitism yesterday. And I think what has to happen is people across the political spectrum should stand together against this hate, and they shouldn't just call out anti-Semites on the other side of the political aisle. They have to call out anti-Semites on their own side of the political aisle.
Ambassador, I really appreciate that. And frankly, I really appreciate what you specifically said about the Trump supporters, because that point isn't often made, and often they are lumped in. You know, the president can take care of himself, as we know very well, but it's the denigration of his supporters that I really can't stand. And so I really appreciate you making that point tonight. Well, Ambassador Dermer, thank you so much for joining us.
Just play the tape, and you will see those people in that Trump rally applaud when the president said he was going to take on all of these anti-Semites. And I think that's very important, and we appreciate very much what he said. And not just him, Steve, there are people, Republicans and Democrats alike, that have come out very forcefully against that. And that is very, very important, to say no to this anti-Semitism and to make all these anti-Semites, whether they're on the left or the right, know that they will have no sanction anywhere for their activities here in America.
Well, greatly appreciate those words. And once again, please pass on our condolences to the community there. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.